Hi everybody, so welcome to Festive 2024 release, an 8x8 Layered Mistletoe frame card. So if you watch the previous video that I did that showed you the holly frame, we're now moving on to another one of the demos that was prepared for TV, for my TV shows that I didn't get a chance to do. Because I didn't get a chance to do any of them because we sold out too quickly. And as I said in the first video, I didn't want you to miss out on the demonstrations and hopefully the inspiration using the new Festive 2024 die and stamp release. So this one is a super easy card, but it looks really elegant. You can see the colour theme is completely different to the one that I did the other day. So this time we are doing blue and silver. I will talk to you more about the colours and the cardstock and everything that I'm using in a second, but first I'm going to do the same as I did on the other video, and I'm just going to show you what I'm using because it makes more sense for me to show you these things at the beginning, explain to you a little bit about the dies, because that is what makes these so special and, well, to be quite honest, so easy to do. So this is the square frame die. So the fancy frames are a brand new thing for this year, for 2024. And I've started them off with the Festive, and who knows, maybe there will be some everyday fancy frames. Who knows? You will find out later in the year. But this is something that is brand new to the range of dies that I do, and it's something that gives you, as a crafter, or gives us as crafters, lots and lots of scope and lots of different ways to use them. So you can see, just looking at the packaging, if I just come a bit further away, you can see that we've got the square frame, and it's not a perfect square because obviously we've got double edges, but clearly it's going to sit on a square card, a rectangle card, whatever you want. And these were all designed to fit on like 6x6 cards and up, so it doesn't matter what size card you like to do. Unless you want to do a tiny A6 one, then you might be scuppered. But from anything from like 5x5, 6x6 up, you are good to go. So these dies themselves are actually 5.5. So you do need to it does need to be like a 6x6 as your smallest one, which I think is probably one of the more popular. 6x6, 7x7, 8x8. They're kind of the square shapes that we prefer. So let's look at the dies. I'll do this quickly because I know a lot of you will be watching who have already seen these dies, but there will be lots of people who haven't seen these dies, so I'm going to do the usual spiel. So each of these frame sets gives you 3 dies. You get the outer frame die, which is this one. You then get the decorative middle part, so the middle die, which is the decorative element from these die sets. And as ever, if you know me, you will know that wherever I can, we've got deboss detailing featured within the actual die. And in case you are new to Sentimentally Yours, what do I mean by debossing? Well, I'm going to show you in a second on the little sample I've got down there in a sec. But basically, this all happens in one pass of your machine. So regardless of whether you're using an electric machine or a manual machine, the debossing happens. You can see it's on the mistletoe sprigs and on the pine cones. It all happens in one pass of your machine. You don't have to go back in again and use an embossing mat or a rubber mat or anything. So you get the outer frame die, you get the center part, which is the decorative element, and then you also get this weird looking one. Now this is something that I added on quite late in the development of these dies, because I was just going to do the decorative frames, and then I thought, no, I want more from my dies. I want my dies to do more. So this weird looking one that comes in the center is so that you can, if I get it the right way around, it's so that you can pop it in the center, and then you're creating another layer. So you can effectively create 3 different layers from this die set. So you can do the outer you can do the middle one on its own. If you do the middle one on its own, it cuts out in one piece. If you put them together like this to create a thick frame or a thicker mat, I personally would recommend that you use, and I don't know where I've put mine, here it is, the Scotch tape to hold it in place. So you would literally do this on your magnetic sheet or whatever your cutting plate is for your machine. I prefer to cut face down, so imagine this is face down, but it really doesn't matter It really doesn't matter which is your preference. So this is what I did. So I put it all on my magnetic sheet, and I still secured it with the tape. So I did a little bit on the outside to hold the outside frame, and once you've got it all lined up, this is obviously going to move because it's not on a magnetic sheet, but you'll get the idea. So you get this one lined up. You can see you've got that lovely, it's actually 1.5 millimeters or 1.75, I can't quite remember, the mat. So you would put that in place as well and hold that one in position, and then all you need to do is tease out the decorative one, and then you will end up with, if I can do this without moving everything, yes I can, you then end up with this on your machine, which looks really, really weird, but I promise you it's worth the effort. It's quite easy to do once you've done it a couple of times. So you end up with this in the perfect position to create the frame, the inner and the outer frame, or layer, or mat, whatever you prefer to call it. It cuts that perfectly, and it will give you the layer for this decorative element. So not only can we use this on its own, we can use it with that on its own, or with these two together to create a thicker layer. So I've rattled on long enough. Let me show you what this looks like after they've been cut. It will make perfect sense to you, I promise. I'm not going to waste that tape. Let me just stick it to the side of my desk. I promise it will make sense when I show you the bits that have already been cut out. Oh, and of course, you also get a sentiment included with this as well. Again, with the decorative sentiment and with the outer shadow die, so you can layer that up to coordinate. Let's just put this back in position. All my dies come on a magnetic storage sheet, so you don't even have to worry about storing your dies. This is literally what I do with all of my dies. Already on the magnetic sheet, I trim the packaging down so that it fits on my magnetic sheet, and I literally just glue it on, and then you've got that forever. It's never going to get lost, or you're never going to forget what should be on there. So let's show you what these look like. Let's show you what this all looks like. So this is the middle part of the die. Let's put this back in order. So this is your decorative part of the die, which is literally just the center one cut on its own. It cuts exactly as I'm showing you now. This is the debossing detail I was talking to you about. So it's in your mistletoes, in the mistletoe sprigs, and it's also featured on the pine cones in the two corners. Yeah. So straight away you've got a really beautiful frame. Now I'm just going to quickly, before I move on, I'm just going to apologise to everybody who's watching this and you haven't seen these before, because I don't think you can get them anywhere anymore. They just came and went so quickly. But for those of you that did manage to get them, well done. But hopefully this has given you some inspiration. So that is the center die, the decorative part of the die, cut on its own. This is the outer part of the die, so the outside frame or the outside layer, cut on its own. Now if you put these two together, you can see straight away, look, it lines up beautifully so that you've got a little border all the way around. I've done this white on white just because I think white on white looks pretty for Christmas cards, but you can do this in whatever colours you like. So this is the outer one on its own, the middle one on its own, and this is how it looks when you cut the outer and the inner together. So the way I've just shown you with the tape to hold it in place, etc., removing the middle one, this is what you end up with. Oh, it's a whole new level. So then you pop that on top. Oh, I've just bent that, so forgive me. You pop that on top, and you've now got, look, can you see? You've got an inner layer and you've got the outer layer. So it's basically done in one cut of your machine, and it just looks fantastic. Forgive me for smashing that poor bit of mistletoe. There you go. No mistletoe was harmed in the making of this film. So that is the outer and the inner together with the middle one, the decorative element. Now let's take this to another level again. So if I take this away and that, and leave that there, take this away and that away, this now is the outer layer run through my mistletoe sprigs embossing folder. So I am kind of known for my coordination. I like things to coordinate, and I do this, well, A, for myself, pure selfish reasons, because I could never find things to coordinate. So I've made that job easy for us now. And you can see, look, the sprigs coordinate beautifully with the mistletoe that is featured within the decorative part of that frame. So we've got that gorgeous mistletoe embossing folder in the background. And that's just the outer and the inner. You bring in the next one again. So this is the outer and the inner with the decorative on top, and you pop that behind. So we've now got a 3-layer frame. I'm trying to do this in midair so it's not. There you go. Do it properly, Phil. Do it properly, Phil. So you've got, well, you get the gist. You've got the outer layer, the inner layer, and now we've got the embossed layer beneath it. So effectively we've got 3 layers on this little embellishment, and I think that's fantastic. It's a bit of a game changer. So how do we make that even better? Well, white on white on white. Let's try changing the top white to our new gold mirror. Oh, look at this. Let's put it in the right place. So we've now got a white base, a white frame, which is the middle section, and then we've got the decorative element cut in gold. You would obviously be gluing this together so that it matches perfectly, but this is just so that I can show you. Look at that. How classy does that look? How absolutely stunning does that look? And that is literally from 3 cuts of the machine. The outer and the inner together, and the base one with the embossing folder. How beautiful does that look? And you can take that away and you can just use these 2 on their own. There's nothing wrong with that. It's still stunning. But the point is, you've got choices, and that's why I think these dies have been so popular. So that is the die set. The mirror card. So the mirror card, remember, it's our mirror card. It's our own that's taken us years and years to source. It's a 300 GSM. I don't know what that equates to in pounds. I'm sorry for everybody in Canada and America. But it's a heavyweight mirror card, and look at the debossing in that corner. And more importantly, it's taken me so long to find this because I wanted a mirror card that doesn't shed. So you can see how intricate these little sprigs are in the corner, and there's not one little bit of the shreddy bit that you get on lesser quality mirror card. That's the nice way to say it. So that is the fancy frame, the mistletoe, which is the square version with the 2 corners. So I'll show you the other things as I use them. It makes more sense to show you them as we use them, as we go through the demonstration. So that's what I'm going to do. Look at me, demonstration, demo. So for everybody that knows me, demo. So the cardstock I've got for this demo is the majestic blue, and I'm just going to take the bigger piece to show you the majestic blue. So this is our luster cardstock. This is majestic blue. It's a double-sided 270 GSM luster cardstock, and it's absolutely class in a glass. So you've got that gorgeous shimmer there. You've got the blue with a lighter turquoisey blue shimmer coming through it. Absolutely stunning. And then you've got the mirror card. I'm not going to tilt it towards me, but you can see all my lights above. And that is the silver mirror card. These 2 colours together for Christmas are a win-win. And then for the top, this is an 8x8 card. For the top, I've got the Oyster Mist luster card. Oyster Mist luster card. Now, Oyster Mist, if I just put this next to the white of the card blank, Oyster Mist is like a milky, well, it's like an oyster colour, which is why I called it Oyster Mist. But look how beautiful these 2 colours are together. And don't ever be scared to use an off-white with a white card blank, because it just looks really, really elegant. So I'm just going to start by layering these together, because all these layers are going to be flat. So I can get them on, and I can glitter around the edge with Diamond Dazzle, of course. It's the law in my craft room. And I can Diamond Dazzle around the edge of this, and then just pop that to one side and leave that to set. And then we can focus purely on the frame and the decorative part of this card. If you've got lots of Christmas cards to make, which, let's face it, is when we make the most cards, this is a really, really beautiful, easy one to do. And you could do this in different colourways, which it just would be fabulous. So turn that over. Always rub from the back when you've got anything that's raised or likely to be damaged when you're sticking it up. And then glue again. So these 2 layers are flat. I do like dimension on my card, but you know me well enough, or I hope you do, to know that the frame is going to be raised. So we've now got the, I mean, that's just beautiful before I even start putting the rest of the elements together. How pretty is that? Remember to do it from the other side. This is why the mirror card is so, or mirror card is so good. The base, so the foundation, if you like, for the mirror card is super quality, and it's, you can tell, you can just feel the quality in this cardstock. So this is going on foam tape. We'll get all this boring stuff done and out of the way. So this is going on foam tape straight onto the card and glittered. The frame will be a little bit fiddlier because it's about 29 degrees in my craft room. You can probably hear the fan in the background. So the frame will be a little bit tricky because I am layering it, I am raising it with glue gel, which is probably going to melt. But let's see how we go. Well, have a drink while I'm doing the boring bit. I've always got a coffee in my craft room. Well, you know that. Is everybody coffee or some of you tea? I do still like my Earl Grey. So occasionally you might hear me say I've got an Earl Grey. But for today it's coffee. So let's get this on. So top tip, you've not heard me say this before, this is a really useful tip. So when I'm doing matting and layering, which is basically what this is, it's just bog standard matting and layering. So if I was just matting and layering card for card onto card, I would probably use a few more layers of the foam tape, and I would use glue on the back of the foam tape, which just then gives you a little bit of wiggle room, we call it. But when you're putting this onto your card base, so this is my card blank look, personally I would never use glue on this part because it's going straight onto the card. Now the only reason I do that is because if you use too much glue, it will show through on the inside of your card. It will leave like just tiny little indentations. Probably wouldn't bother most people, but I'm a bit well, you know I'm a bit fussy. So I'm going on with no glue, which means I've got one chance to get this right. So here we go. And that looks pretty, oh, it's a good job, it looks pretty good to me. Yeah, that's fine. That's pretty good to me. So now we'll go around with the Diamond Dazzle. So, in case you don't know, you'll hear me talk a lot about Diamond Dazzle and Diamond Snow. So Diamond Dazzle is my, well, both of these are my must-have glitters. The one that I always use the most is Diamond Dazzle, which is this one. And Diamond Dazzle is little tiny transparent discs. We'll come a bit further away, see if you can see that. There you go. So Diamond Dazzle is little tiny transparent discs, and it's like a crunchy glitter, so it looks crunchy when you put it on your card. Diamond Snow, Diamond Dust, is the same glitter, so still transparent, but it's teeny tiny discs, so it's almost like a super fine version of this. So it's just whatever your preference is. So I'm going to just glue around the edge of the embossing folder layer. So this is the Mistletoe Sprigs embossing folder, don't forget. I use it all year round. I don't just use it for Christmas because it's a pretty foliage die in its own right, and just because it's mistletoe doesn't mean you can only use it for Christmas cards. So I've gone all the way around that, and that just means I can get the glitter on and leave that to dry. It wouldn't be a Christmas card, or it certainly wouldn't be a Phill Martin Christmas card without some sparkle in there. It's just an excuse. It's just an excuse. It's just a reason, just an excuse to get glitter everywhere. And this is done. So the reason I've done this first is just so that we can pop that to one side and we know the base of the card is done. I'm just going to blow that at the side. And there we go, look. So you can see the diamond dazzle now. The glue is still white, but it will dry clear. So pop that to one side and we shall move on to our frame. So the frame is going to be a little bit trickier. In fact, I think I might do the sentiment first, and I might do this straight onto the card. You can see all the bits I've got on my desk. So all these bits are going to enhance this frame. And I'm just going to show you now. This is an ideal time for me to show you the other parts of the 2024 festive release that we are incorporating into this card. So these are brand new for 2024. So you can see here, look, we've got the little fir sprigs, and these are the holly, the fir and holly sprigs. I've got two sets, as you know. I've got two sets on here. You actually get one A6 set with 8 dies in it. And again, the holly is the holly, but the fir sprigs you are going to use year in, year out. And these are the smallest foliage dies really that I've done. They're all, apart from these, they're a bit smaller. They're all about 5 centimeters tall. Perfect for tucking underneath your flowers and your foliage and everything. So that is the fir and holly sprigs. And then the other one that I'm using, as you can see, is the berry sprigs. So these little silver sprigs here are from the berry sprigs. This one. They are, look. And cut in the silver mirror card. So same as always, I always have 2 sets. In case you don't know me, I always have 2 sets, just because it makes it easier. Oh, I've lost one of my dies. Where's that gone? Well, that's a bit naughty. There's one missing from here. I bet I've used it somewhere. Naughty Phill Martin. I'll find it, don't worry. I forgot what I was saying to you now. Yeah, so berry sprigs, I always have 2 sets. In case you don't know, I always have 2 sets, just purely because when I'm prepping demos and things, it's just quicker. It saves me having to go in so many times with the die cutting machine. So you'll notice here, oh, this is why I love doing what I do. For as long as this has been released. When did I release this? 2021. So the Bare Branches and Pine Cones is a die set that I released from my Festive 2021 collection. I know, because it says 2021 for the copyright. And included in this are the pine cones. This die I use year in, year out, constantly, not just for Christmas cards. These branches are phenomenal. They're absolutely gorgeous for any kind of card where you're using floral embellishments. And of course you get the pine cones with the debossing detail, as you would expect. There you go. You can see that's the one that's been cut in the majestic blue mirror card, majestic blue luster card. If you haven't got the Bare Branches and Pine Cones, I'm just going to say this now, so at the risk of repeating myself all the time, but we've hardly got any of the Bare Branches and Pine Cones left. It's not something I'm going to restock, because I've restocked it 4 or 5 times already, and there has to be a line that I draw and say, right, no more. So if you haven't got the Bare Branches and Pine Cones, please get it in your stash. You need it. Oops, I've just knocked that one off. I use this loads. You've only got to look at some of my other videos. And then we're back to where we started. So, oh, it's there. It's got stuck on the other magnetic sheet. That saved me panicking. So the berry sprigs, the fir and holly sprigs, and the Bare Branches and Pine Cones are the extra die sets I'm using for this demonstration. And then the only other thing you can see here, I've got some a little bit of silver and a little bit of white. The only other thing I'm going to use on here are the new Just Saying Festive Sentiments. So these again are from the 2024 release. There are 2 sets, and these are mini sentiments. Let me just flick those over so you can see. So these are beautiful little dinky sentiments. It's hard for you to see that on screen, but let's just give you a... I'll show you what the biggest one is. So this is the biggest one here. Oops. So the biggest one is small. It's just under 3.5 centimeters tall by just over 3 centimeters wide, and the borders are all just dinky, like a centimeter deep, and however long they are, depending on what the phrase is. Again, these have been hugely popular. I'm not restocking, everybody. If by any small chance there are any of these left on my website, and I have popped links into everything I'm using today in the description, so it saves you having to go looking for everything, just click the links. If I have got any of these left and you like them, you need to get them really sharpish. So I am using the border sentiments for this card, and I'm using Twilight. So Twilight is the VersaFine Clay that I'm using, and it's a gorgeous deep shade of blue. So let's have a look at which sentiment fits on here, and let's hope I've cut it long enough, because that will be fun, won't it? So we've got choices. We can have a very happy Christmas, wishing you a Merry Christmas. That one's too long. That one's just, but that's Happy New Year. Thinking of you at Christmas I like. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Have a merry little Christmas. Sending love and Christmas wishes. That's nice, isn't it? That's what we're going to have. Sending love and Christmas wishes. That's a nice phrase. So let's just get that on the block. I'm using my acrylic circle. Let's do it the other way around so that it doesn't get bent. Top tip, everybody, if you've got delicate sentiments like this, look, that are wobbling about, put them face down so you can read it on your craft sheet, and then pick it up the other way with the block, and then you know it's found its natural form. So here we go. Let's hope I can do this in 2 stamps, because I've only got 2 sides of the card to use. I'm using the acrylic circles. I only ever really use the acrylic circles when I'm doing sentiments, because I've just got a lot of control. For anybody who hasn't seen these are not like ones that you've seen on the market. Mine have an ergonomic groove in them. They're really, really easy to hold and use. So if you struggle with stamping sentiments when you don't want to get your platform out, I'm just going to bring this a little bit closer to myself. So forgive me if my hair gets in the shot, and I've been twirling it, because I do twirl my hair. Yeah, so if you haven't got the acrylic circles, they're definitely a useful tool to have in your craft stash. Oh, look how pretty that is. So sending love and Christmas wishes, really like that. And I'll clean my stamp. I always clean my stamp straight away, put it back where it belongs, and then you know it's going to be where it should be next time you come to use it. I don't use baby wipes, just in case anybody's looking, thinking, what are those wipes Phil's using? These are water wipes, so these are not the same as baby wipes. I will show you the pack in a minute. I don't know that you'll be able to get these if you're watching abroad, but for the UK, for everybody in the UK, you can get these in most places. So they are water wipes, yeah. And they don't contain any chemicals or anything like that. So here we go. It's literally water, and I think it says it's where the blah 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 99.9% water and a drop of fruit extract is what it says. So I've got my sentiment. We'll let that set. We've got all the extra embellishments, but now let's come to putting this together. We'll just see if that's dried enough. It might be dried enough. No, I'll leave it for a second. So before I start putting this together, we're going to introduce a little bit of red. Now I'm not going to put red berries on all the silver berry sprigs, but on the actual main focal point I am. So I'm just going to take some of my berry red pearls and see which ones fit best. Yeah, that's a bit bigger than that, but it's a good fit. So let's just get that on. I'm going to put them on here, it's easier. Oops. That's 3 that I've got stuck together. That's 3 that I've got stuck together, so let's get these on here. Now I'm doing this first, just so you know, because you're probably wondering why I'm doing this first. Let me just see if a 5mm will work better on that. Not that I'm fussy or anything. No, it needs to be 8. So for everybody who doesn't like using or never uses the 8mm pearls, there you go. You've got a good reason to now. Sorry, I'm coughing in your ear hole. So let's pop that on there. I've had this bad chest now since, oh, I can't remember. Since we got back from holiday in, when did we go? May? It's tons better, but it's just not 100%. So they're the bigger ones. Let's just see if the 5mm is big enough for that, and it's perfect. Yeah, so the reason I'm putting these on now is because I'm building the card on the actual card. So this frame and everything is going to be built directly onto the card itself, rather than as a separate embellishment and then stuck on the card. So it just depends which way you're making your project. So let's just see if the 3mm are big enough for that. Get on there. So can you see where the little bit of glue has seeped out? That's actually done me a little favour, because it's going to be, well, you know what it's going to get. It's going to get diamond dazzled. So then you end up with a lovely little bit of, let's see if that's big enough. Oh, it is lovely. So a little 3mm pearl on this one. So what that means is we get a lovely glittery ring at the base of each pearl. And we're going to do that next. Yeah, so this is why I'm building the card on the card as opposed to as a separate embellishment, because it's easier for me to assemble that way. So let's just see if we can catch any of that glue. Oh, there you are, look, it's caught the glue, so we've got a little bit of sparkle. Remember, the glue does dry clear. My PVA is not the same as everybody else's PVA. This is thick glue. Let's just move that down a bit. Let me just move this pearl a bit further in. That's better. That's it. So now these can start to set for a second. So I'll just leave that for a minute. I mean, look how different it looks just with that little bit of, that little pop of red. Isn't that fabulous? It would be too much if I did all these as well, so I am leaving those plain. So now the sentiment can go on, and I'm just going to snip the edge of my sentiment, and I like to do angles. So I'm going to pop this on first onto the mirror card, and then I will do the same at the other end. I mean, those of you that know me, you will know that I have a love-hate relationship with mirror card. If mirror card is used sparingly, I love it. If it's too much, then I think it overpowers the card and it spoils it a little bit. I'm just wiping that excess glue off. So for me, less is certainly more with mirror card. And then we'll just snip the other corner and follow that line, just so that I've got a little silver edge. There, look. So we've now created a lovely shaped sentiment, which is going to go there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So now bring the card back in. All the embellishments are going on last, as you know. So let's bring the card back in, and we will pop that right in the middle. I'm going to get a drink, and then you'll see what I mean about building this card up on the card, as opposed to building this up as an embellishment, which is what you've seen me do for years. So instead of building it up as an embellishment and then putting it on the card, we're going to do it actually on the card, because this is quite intricate and I don't want to be moving it around any more than I have to. So let's get a coffee, drinking it, which is good. Right, So here we go. Let's just get this built up. Now again, for people in overseas, in America and Canada particularly, I know you can't get glue gel. Pin flare we call it, because that's who makes it, pin flare glue gel. I know that you can't get this, so just so that you've got an alternative to use, if I didn't have this, I can't use silicone glue. Silicone glue gives me migraines, which is why I use such a lot of the pin flare glue gel, because this doesn't give me migraines. It says on the tube it's odorless, and that is true until it sets, but then when it sets, I do think that there is an odor from it. It's not bad, but you can definitely smell an odor from it. So if you can't get hold of anything like this, or if you can use silicone, marvelous. If you can't, I would use a heavy body gel. So that would be what I go to as an alternative. Oops, you can tell it's warm. Look, you can always tell it's warm when this starts to be naughty. So a heavy body gel is what I would go to if I didn't have this. It's the same sort of thing really. Let's just put another bit there. So yes, I've gone mad with it because I don't want this frame to sink too much. And we are going onto an embossing folder layer. So you have to make certain allowances because the glue needs to go into the recesses. It needs to go in the peaks and troughs of this card. So, where have I got that from? Oh, it must be the baby white. I've got a little wet patch on my t-shirt and I'm like, where's that come from? But it must be the baby white. Or my fingers when I clean my fingers. So make sure when you're doing this, because the frame is different, it's the same design in both corners, but one is larger than the other. It doesn't matter which way you go. So it doesn't matter whether you do the larger design in the top right or the bottom left. I designed it with the largest one in the bottom left, so that's what I'm going to do. So make sure you do the same with the frame when you put the frame on. So you can see which is the largest part. I've just stuck my finger in that. Honestly, if you're watching for the first time, I am a professional. This is going straight into the middle of this card, and now you will understand why it's being built on the card. It's just a top tip for you if you're using the square one particularly, and you are layering with dimension, which is what I'm doing here, look. So I'm just going to tap. I can tell already that I've used just the right amount of gel because that is quite firm. Yeah, so that's perfect. So already, look, the center part is showing you the embossing folder area, but we've got the dimension. You can see, look, it's raised off that piece of card. And now the fun part, which is trying to get glue gel on this. So top tips for this: there is no way in a million years I'm going to be able to get enough glue gel or in a small enough piece to go on these corners. So I'm going to focus on the actual bulk of this and then just try and get a tiny bit in each of these the very edge of the corner. So here we go. This should be fun. This should be fun. This is going to go there. Just make sure that's straight and it's not moved. It is. Spot on. I'll leave it there. So I use a cocktail stick. As you know, you can get the super fine, what do you call them? Syringes for the glue gel. I can't get on with the syringes, which is why I always use a cocktail stick. And these are eco-friendly, cost-effective, and you can just throw them away when they get too grubby. So I'm not going as high for this layer. You can see, look, that the glue gel is moving. That's how warm it is in my craft room. So I'm just going to focus on the areas that have got a big enough piece or a big enough solid section for me to pop some glue gel on. It really won't matter if you see a bit of this, because it's going to be covered in, you know what I'm going to say, it's going to be covered in Diamond Dazzle. So let's get some in that corner. It's another top tip for covering up glue gel. It is transparent, so you don't really notice it too much. That's too small. Let's get a bit behind these pearls. That's too much. Should be okay. You don't really notice it too much because it is transparent. However, I always run Diamond Dazzle around all the areas where I've got glue gel, simply because it covers it up. So if any of it is showing, it just looks pretty because you've got Diamond Dazzle on it. So let's do this. It looks like it's part of the design, part of the feature of your project, as opposed to being an afterthought. And I've told you, you can tell it's warm, so if it flops a bit, forgive me. It's not my fault, it's the weather. You can't win, can you, in the UK? We complain when it's raining, we complain when it's cold, we complain when it's hot. We're just a nation of moaners. It had to be said. So a little bit, that's far too much. Let me take some of that off. There we go. Still too much, but it should do. It should be okay. Nation of moaners. One thing you do have to be careful of, and hopefully I can do this without getting it everywhere, because we're going on mirror card. We've got one chance to get this right, really. No pressure, Phil. No pressure on a recorded video. So I'm going to try and get a little bit on the back of these mistletoes, just the two that are sticking out the most, because hopefully the other two will be raised enough that it won't matter too much, and ultimately it doesn't matter if it flops a little bit. And yes, I can talk for England. And if you haven't seen one of our lives, we do, when I say we, I mean I'm live on YouTube every Monday evening. I'll do all the social stuff at the end. I just saw a bit where I can go in. I'll do all the social stuff at the end, but don't miss our lives on a Monday evening. So on a Monday evening, I'm live on YouTube at 7 PM UK time, and on our Facebook page, Sentimentally Facebook page, at the same time. So if you're on YouTube, brilliant. If you're not, you can watch on the Sentimentally Facebook page. And we have a good time. It's a lot of fun. I'm just building this bit up. And crafting should be fun. Right, so I'm now on to the intricate part. So let me just see if I can just get a teeny tiny peek. Just a teeny tiny peek on both of these corners, and then we will try our best to get this on in one go. I'm not too worried about any bits that get squashed, because it is going to be diamond dazzled, which will just look pretty. So here we go. So top tip, I'm going to stand up to do this, everybody, because I know I won't be able to see it properly if I'm sitting down. It's too far away. So I know, look, that this is the large corner, so I can literally just flip it over. It's quite weighty now with the glue gel, so I'm going to hold it with my tweezers and try and get this in position before I let it sit. So forgive me, I'm just going to bring it closer to me just while I do this part, because we've got one chance really to get this right. Oh, it looks so good. It might be a little bit off, but I think that looks so good. It's so pretty. Do you know what? As a designer, I love seeing things like this, because this is us now using the frame die in a different way to how you've seen me do it on the other two demonstrations, and it looks incredible. I'm going to lift this up in a minute and show you, because it looks phenomenal. Oh, that's so beautiful. Yes, you've got to have a little bit of patience for the glue gel, but this is incredible. I can't move that now because the glue gel's underneath it, so it should really gone up there a little bit more, but you'll get the idea. Look at this. Are you ready? Look at this dimension. Look at that dimension. And yes, I was very patient with the glue gel, but that looks incredible. You can see there, look, that the mistletoe is raised with the glue gel underneath. And that is just, it's stunning, honestly. So while the glue gel's still wet, we are going to take the Diamond Dazzle. I'm going to go on the inside of my card so that I'm not squashing the glue that's not dried there yet. And I'm literally just going to let this Diamond Dazzle drift all over. And you will understand why in a second. Remember I told you a few seconds ago, I love my pin flare glue gel, but I don't like to see it underneath my embellishments. So the way to cover that up and to make it look like a part of the design is by just glittering it. The Diamond Dazzle will stick to every bit that's got pin flare glue gel. And you can just see, look, under the end of that frond, can you just see? We've got the Diamond Dazzle covering that up. I'm just going to move it to one side and blow that. I would normally do this once the card's set, so let's just see what happens. I need one of those. Oh, I've got one somewhere. One of those little blowers that we use for alcohol inks and inks. I think that will be okay till we finish the card. I mean, I'm blowing the glitter off, but it's a Christmas card, so I don't know why I am. How beautiful is this? That's just so lush. You can see the dimension. That is about, I'm not going to put the ruler next to it, I'm just trying to get a guess. That's about just under 1/2 centimetre raised on both layers, and it just looks incredible. And another added bonus that I didn't even think about, we've got the reflection. So because we've got mirror card underneath, we've actually got the reflection from the glue gel underneath with the Diamond Dazzle on it. So win-win. Right, so that worked out really rather well. So marvellous, I'm happy with that. Crikey, I've been 47 minutes. It only feels like I've been half an hour. So now we're going to accentuate these corners. So you've got a couple of different ways to do this. I'm going to put my sentiment on next because the sentiment is going there, okay? So the sentiment I'm putting on first, and I can see where I need my gel, which is here and here. And it obviously needs to be quite high, so I'm going to try and peak it quite high. This is why I love this stuff. So I've now created 3 little peaks. They're not little, but you get the idea. And then they will sit around the frame. So I'm going just there. That's spot on. So now just to give you another little idea, I'm just going to squash that down a little bit more. Perfect. Just to give you another little idea, all these extra embellishments, I don't need all those. I only need, how many do I need? I only need 1 for each corner. Don't know why I've got so many. So all these little extra embellishments coordinate with the rest of the Christmas die set. So you can see the berries do match the berries that are in there, the berry sprigs, and the pine cones match the pine cones. So you've got a couple of different choices at this stage. So had I have got a normal little sentiment and popped it in there, we could actually use all these extra individuals. So all these extra individual pieces could have created, filled in the opposite corners. So we could have created a square wreath, if you like, with the individual elements to complement it. I'm actually going to extend the corners that are already there. So I've got the largest pine cone. I'm just going to shape that back a little bit. So this is the largest pine cone, and I'm just literally going to pop that on there to extend this corner, and the same on the other side. And then we're going to build up some dimensional foliage. What a surprise. But this is the whole point. This is the whole point with this collection. You can do as much or as little as you want to do. You're in control. So I'm just going to pop this there, look. And because it coordinates perfectly, you don't even need to think about it. Look how gorgeous that looks. I'm going to speed up a little bit because I've taken a lot longer than I thought it was. Surprise, surprise. I've taken a lot longer than I thought I was going to do. So now I'm going to shape the first sprigs. We've got left facing, right facing, as you would expect. And we're going to accentuate these corners. We're going to make the corners look a little bit bigger. So let's go the opposite direction. So if you look here, that one's going in, that one's going in. So we're going to go out and out on this one. It doesn't need this. Let's be honest, it doesn't need this extra embellishment. This is just Phill Martin being Phill Martin. We've got choices. The whole point is you've got choices. And you can do it if you want or don't if you don't want to. I'm just accentuating these decorative corners that we already have. Because I can. And because I want to. So I'm going underneath the extra pine cone. And then I'm going to do the same with the berries. So I'll just make sure I've got two facing opposite directions. I have. Remember, these are not having the red pearls on. And these are just going to get tucked underneath there as well. I am nearly done, so if you're falling asleep, I'm nearly done. So let's go opposite. So I'm going opposite again. This is all going underneath this pine cone, look. Oh, it's so pretty, this. I wish you could see this in real life. It's so pretty. I'll try and do a proper close-up once I've done. Let's just squash that down a little bit. Oh, that's perfect. I love it when a plank comes together. We've got dimension without it being too much. I'm just squashing it down a little bit more. Perfect. And the same on the other side. I've got too many berries, so let's just make sure I've got the right ones. That's the same. That's right. Don't need those. So same again. So just a slight curve. And we're going the opposite way. So this one's facing in. So the next one here needs to be facing out. Can you see what I mean though about it's up to you whether you do this or not? It doesn't matter. The frame looks stunning on its own. But I love the fact that we've got a choice. This is not me dictating to you that you can only use the frame the way that the frame's been designed. This is me showing you options. Oops, I don't need all them. I just need two. So a little bit of a curve. Little bit of a curve. And opposite way. So this one's facing in. I know I'm a little bit fussy. So we've got one going in, one going out. This one's going in, so it's opposite. Details. Take care of the details, and the project will look after itself. So here we go. We are nearly done. All I'm going to do is pop. Get back where you belong. Hang on, just faff with this bit. There we go. You can tell how warm it is because my glue gel is melting. It's perfect. So the only thing I'm going to do now, oh look at this. Look how beautiful that is. I'm not going to do anything to the end of that, but what I am going to do is just have one red berry there and one red berry here. That's it. And when I say red berry, you know what I mean. I mean a pearl. So one there, and it just adds a little bit of red to the background of the card. And we are done. So how pretty. And I told you at the beginning that this was a really simple, easy card to do, and it absolutely is. But how stunning does that look? So the sentiment is beautiful, and I love dinky sentiment. So sending love and Christmas wishes. Remember to do the chopped off angle because it just gives you a point of interest, so it's not all square edges. So we've taken that gorgeous mistletoe frame, fancy frame. We've layered that up so it's on 2 layers of glue gel. Yes, you do have to have a little bit of patience, but the results speak for itself. The fact that we've got dimension here on this main top part, and then we've got the mirror card underneath, it's reflecting all that detail, and it just looks phenomenal. I wish you could see this in real life. So we've taken these already decorative, oops, I've just squashed that. Taken these already decorative corners, and we've accentuated them by adding another pine cone and another smaller fir sprig, and then another berry sprig. So how beautiful. And there you go. So that is demo number 2. It's perhaps just as well I didn't do this on television because I would never have had time. So you've got the benefit of me having a little bit longer to do this. And I will, as I say, pop the links of everything that I've used in the description. So if you're looking for things that I've used today, although you probably won't be able to get the frame dies, you might still be able to get some of the individual elements so you can recreate this. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I'm going to just quickly show you the socials for people that might not know. So as I mentioned earlier, we are live every Monday evening at 7 PM UK time. And I'm live on my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. We will see you every Monday evening. And obviously there are going to be more of these videos because I've still got 4, I think, to finish off. So for those of you that haven't yet, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. So it's just search on YouTube for Crafting with Phill Martin, and then hit that subscribe button, and all you need is your email address, and then you will be notified every time I am live. If you don't do YouTube but you are on Facebook, you will find us on Facebook there. So just search for Sentimentally Yours and like and follow the page, please. If you follow and like, you're never going to miss anything every time I post. And then our shop Facebook page is Honeypot Crafts. So the girls at the shop are superb at getting orders out, answering queries, etc. My Facebook page is Phill Crafty Martin, although I am on the Sentimentally Yours one a lot more than I am on my own. My Instagram is Phill M Martin. My TikTok, and I know this will really surprise you, is Phill M Martin. My Twitter is Phill M Martin. And 2 more things to tell you before I let you go. If you are a Facebook member and you would like to join our fabulous Facebook group, just search on Facebook for Crafting with Phill Martin and Sentimentally Yours. And then you will find the group. You do need to ask to join. It isn't a public group, so you do need to request to join. I will check your request and let you in accordingly. We have a live demonstration in there every Thursday evening at 7 PM UK time too. And then the very last thing I need to tell you is our blog. So the blog is phillmartin.wordpress.com. Now my design team managed the blog for me, and they are a superb bunch of people, super talented crafters, and they are always putting new inspiration, step-by-step instruction sheets with the latest collections. So please do read back at the blog and leave them lovely comments once you've had time to have a look. So there you go. Thank you very much, everybody. That's another demo, as promised, using the demos that I'd got prepared that I didn't get time for television. I will leave you in peace now. Thank you for coping for... Oh, it's just under an hour if I'm quick. Oh, dang it. We've just gone one hour and a minute. I wanted to be able to say I've done a demo in under an hour, but no such luck. So thank you very much, everybody. I will post this. I will post another video in a couple of days with another one of the demonstrations. Remember to check the links in the description. So you can maybe hopefully get a couple of the individual elements at least. So thank you for watching, everybody. Bye.